gets real. It gets real. There's a narrative. You see, I'm a narrative merchant. See, for me, I live off the narratives. And anybody who's watched this channel long enough knows that I am obsessed with narratives, and I am a self-confessed card-carrying member of the Agenda Society. I'm an agenda merchant. Like you see, for me, you know how they say, like, whenever you're like you go into Alcoholics Anonymous, the first thing they say is, "I'm an alcoholic." So the first thing is just to admit the freaking truth. I am an agenda merchant. I love narratives. So what's the narrative here? Pep, this was your student. This is your student. It's your boy. I don't mean to be rude and everything, but Pep, this is your boy. And we all clowned Arteta. We all said that you got his water bottle, you put out the cones, and you think you're going to ask him to do anything? Of course, you'll finish eighth, and you'll end up being sacked. You didn't deserve that freaking job. Okay, you fluked your way to get that job. Oh, because you worked with Pep, you can do something. Oh, give me a break. Give me a break. So you think that the students can defeat the master? Come on. Come on, bro. Obi-Wan couldn't step to Qui-Gon. He couldn't step to Qui-Gon. He couldn't step to freaking Qui-Gon. He couldn't step to it. Like Darth Vader couldn't look the Emperor in the eye. Vader couldn't look the Emperor in the eye. So, but things are different. Obi-Wan wants to say what's up to Qui-Gon. Anakin wants to say what's up to Obi-Wan. The Vader wants to say what's up to the Emperor. And what we're seeing from Arteta here is he's trying to go for it. So you see, my view on this Arsenal City thing is this, because I want us to be real here. There are various degrees of importance. So when we're talking about club football, it's the Champions League, the league, and then your domestic trophy. But for where Arsenal are concerned, it's about that league. So this FA Cup, it's cool, it's cute, but what I'm looking at this match here is, okay, this is just for us to measure each other up. Because it's about Feb 15. Guys, I'm opening with the hashtag. Hashtag Feb 15. Because Feb 15 is when it gets real. Feb 15 is when it gets real. Because I told you, let's present the narrative here. Pep can't allow Arteta to win the league ahead of him. He cannot allow that. Now people still can say it's hate. This isn't hate. I'm speaking fluent facts. I told you, I am fluent in facts. I've been speaking facts for over a decade to 20 years. So I've always been speaking facts. Okay, so I speak fluent facts. Arteta didn't have a managerial job before he went to Arsenal. He had zero managerial experience. So everything he learned, coaching, managing wise, mostly came from Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola is a guy who has an endless war chest. Literally, any player he wants, he gets. Any player he wants, he gets. He doesn't have to worry about, oh, that's too much or anything. Any player he wants, Pep gets. And he has a freak of nature from Norway who's on 25G. 25Gs, and we're only halfway through the freaking season. So that's what we're dealing with here. Oh, 100 points? Can I give you 98 points? Can I give you consecutive wins? Can I give you goals scored? And he's trying to do a three-piece of EPL titles. So that's what we're working with here. Bro, Arsenal not won the league since 04. Huh? I didn't stutter, and I'm a stutterer. Shout out to my dad. I am a stutterer. I do stutter, but I'm not stuttering here. Arsenal have not won the Premier League title since the year of our Lord 2004. That's real. So, what Arsenal are doing this season it has surprised everybody. If you thought Arsenal would play this well, perform at this level, be this consistent, have this level of cohesiveness and chemistry, you were lying. No one saw this. Hence why it is truly fascinating what is happening. Because how things should go is, Arsenal are that third, fourth position, City are clear away in the lead, specifically with what Liverpool are doing. So nobody, specifically Pep Guardiola, really catered for Arsenal doing this. And let's be real, Pep is now thinking about Arteta, because let me twist things out. Liverpool and Klopp, two different styles, two different philosophies, two different approaches, both offensive, both wanting to attack. But the way they wanted to attack was in very different ways. So it literally was people from two different ideologies. But with Arsenal, Pep, I know him. I know this guy. I told you there is a Rinus Michels and Johan Cruyff branch, spine. Because Arteta, Pep, Javi are all within the same, and Ten Hag, they're all within the same spine and branch that's began with Rinus Michels and Johan Cruyff back in the 70s. Actually, if you can buy that book, I think, because actually I bought the book when I was younger. I think it's like an orange book called Total Football, which is about how the Dutch guys from the 70s viewed the game. So both Arteta and Pep, they are offspring of what Michels and Johan Cruyff pretty much brought into football that began in the 70s. So for Pep, you're almost facing like your clone. You're literally looking into the mirror and facing like your twin. So it's like Pep is like, oh, this guy, he knows me. He knows me. So that is what makes this particularly fascinating, because the narrative and the story behind this is really interesting. Because Pep, with Pep and Klopp, is like, okay, this is something very different here. And how does my style blend with this guy's style? Now, I'll give you an example. Cooking. So my mom taught me how to cook. So when I first cooked, I copied my mom 100%. So my mom would write down the ingredients for like stew, and I would follow it to the T. Second time, third time, follow it. By the time I got to the fifth, sixth, seventh time, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I want to have more onions. Actually, you know what? Maybe less tomato puree. You know what? Maybe I want to have actually less oil to cook the stew with. You know, maybe I'm actually going to cook the stew on much higher heat. You know, maybe I'm going to actually add this spice here. I'm going to mix it with this spice. Actually, no, maybe not that much spice. So I had the foundation that my mom gave me, but I made a few tweaks of my own to the points where my mom said, oh, you actually cook stew better than I do. So Arteta is taking the foundation that Pep taught him, but he's tweaked it. Pep took the foundation that Cruyff taught him, but Pep tweaked it. You know, so Arteta's brand can't be exactly the same. Of course, the core and the nucleus is the same as Pep, but he's tweaked it. So when you just look to see Arsenal and City, Arsenal, there is a bit more directness in how they want to attack. And there is a bit more point A to point B in the way that they actually want to now get to the goal, as opposed to City, who they will always look for the pass first. So it's fascinating what this is about. So this FA Cup game, whoever wins, I'm looking at this as a preview to Feb 15. I'm like, okay, how do these two guys match up? You know, what are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? How do they look? Because I do feel that for Arsenal, it'll be interesting what their psychology is here. Because 100%, Arsenal's psychology is, this was always a top four season. Top four. I think now Arsenal know that, oh no, top four is done. Based on how many points they've accumulated and just how bad Chelsea and Liverpool have been. So they know that top four is done. So they know, okay, no. Top four, that's... Thanks. This is a title season. We didn't think it was, but it's a title season. And the beauty about young players is this. Young players are fearless. So when you look at Saka, Nketiah, Martinelli, Odegaard, 1,000% they're like, we're going for the title. They're not going for top four. Because young people are like, oh, no. Screw it, let's do it. So 100% they're like, we are going for the title. We are going to win the title. And I think because they now feel that it is a real possibility and they know what this could mean and how much the fans want this, they're like, oh, no, we're going for this. And which is what is the beauty about having young players. Young players do not second guess themselves. See, when you're older, you're like, okay, I have to be wise. We have to think about this, but we have to now be easy. But now they're like, oh, and they have a guy in Odegaard who is a young buck. Wait, hold up. How old is he? 20. The captain is 24. The captain is 24. It's a very young team. It's a very young team. See, where City are concerned, I think for Pep always loves a challenge. He loves a challenge, and I think for Pep, he will know that it's one thing to get beaten by a club. I can't be beaten by my Padawan. I can't be beaten by my Padawan. So for Pep Guardiola, he's like, oh, this is interesting. Because 100%, see, whenever Pep says, oh no, this guy will be great, he'll be really good, he's amazing, he just talks. Pep is fiercely competitive. He is incredibly competitive, 100%. And for Pep, 1000% is like, okay, now it's on. Now it's on. You know, and you can see from his press conference interviews and everything. And like, let's be real here, because I don't have my views on Pep. I will never deny that Pep is an outstanding coach. And the reason why Arteta is doing what he is, who did he learn from? So Pep is a direct influence on what Arteta has been doing these years, what he's been building, and what Arteta is doing this season. So Pep is very much to thank for what Arteta is doing with the Arsenal. So Arsenal owe a debt of gratitude to Pep. 1000%, because it is Arteta's proximity to Pep and his extremely incredible winning machine and project, which is City, one of the greatest teams in Premier League history, that is result of what Arteta is doing with Arsenal now. So I'm really like, where I'm at with this is City. I'm going with experience. And I say, for me, two things. Experience, they've been here, they've done it, they've bought the t-shirts, and Pep knows how to do this. And I always respect experience specifically when it comes to the marathon of the league. And the second thing is the freak of nature known as Haaland. He's scoring too many goals. And how you win a league is consistency. Like, a UCL is about dud. It's about gid. A league is about stats padding. So league is stats padding. UCL, Cups, it's about dud and doy. So that's why I'm sticking with City, because Pep, he knows this. He's about this life. But as much as I say this, Arsenal keep answering all these questions. I throw a question, they answer. I throw another question, they answer. They keep answering these questions. And every single time that we say, well, what about this? Or what about that? Well, have they done this? But they did. They keep answering these questions. So, because I keep waiting for, okay, when do they get to their rough patch? Okay, when do things not start working? When does the chemistry fall off? When do they not find a way to figure it out? Because the issue is that they keep figuring out a way to win. And that is the mark of champions, is you're an addict. Like, you become addicted to winning. It's like, oh, no. Like, if I don't win, like I'll start like twitching. It's like, oh God, draw, lost. So like, they have to win, because winning is like their, that basically, this is like basically sniff like W's. Like, basically they do like lines of W's. So it's fascinating, because this Arsenal team is good. He'd be proud. He'd be very proud. And I just think that's what, and that's why for this FA Cup game, I'm like, okay, what do these teams look like? Because I'm counting down the days to Feb 15, because I just believe that there's a crazy story here. Because if City win, boom, and I'm sure that Arsenal will challenge them. But the concept of Arsenal winning this league with Arteta and the Pep narrative of Pep tutoring him, so Arteta leaving him, tutoring him, and they're going on to win, that's a crazy story. That's a crazy narrative. And it's a story that nobody saw coming. Because let's be real, nobody saw Arsenal being where they were in this league and playing the way they were right now. As I told you, it's the team that plays the best football right now that I've seen is Napoli. After that plays Arsenal. But you got that Norwegian dude, man. But yeah, man. Fascinating, man. Tell me below, man. Who do you think edits this whole league thing? Arsenal, City, or do you think it's way too close to call, man? Subscribe for all that good stuff right there. And remember, if you remember, hit that membership content right there, guys. Hit the membership content right there. Peace out. It gets real.